So hi, I'm Phil Needham with Needham Ag Technologies. This is my son Ben, and we're here at the National No-Till Conference 2019, and I'd like to discuss some of our new products that we have available for this year, in addition to some of the ones that we've had for previous years. So one of the new products that we've got for 2019 is this one, which is a pair of poly 20-point wheels for a closing wheel arm on a Kinsey and John Deere planter primarily, in addition to some others. But we've been highly impressed with the 20-point wheels in the past few years. They do extremely well, but historically they've been made out of steel. And steel works still very well on drills and air seeders, but when you get to a planter, you don't need two heavy steel wheels. In most moist conditions especially, too much weight is not good. You end up with a lot of sidewall compaction. So we've actually gone to a poly material which dissipates a lot of the weight, so we're retaining the same good closing performance with a little bit of flexibility, which helps shedding mud in moist soils, which we found to be important. We've not had any wrapping problems in cover crops, which is also a big benefit. And the other benefit is we're retaining the same 4-hole bolt pattern as the Martin spike wheels. So if you get into higher moisture soils, you know, there are some conditions where spike wheels will outperform poly wheels, and that is higher moisture, especially clay soils. So as you move through the season, you know, easily you can pop the poly 20-point wheels off and select a spike wheel for the higher moisture soils, because there's very few closing systems, really none, that we have found that work in all soil conditions. So you need a flexible system that works in different soils, and by changing wheels out once or twice a year, you'll have the ability to do that. So I'd like to introduce my son Ben. He's just graduated from college in engineering, and he's going to talk about some of our products on the John Deere single disc row unit, like on a 750 or an 1890.
So this is an opener off of a John Deere 1890 air seeder, and I'll start here at the back. This is our 20-point crumbler wheel that helps to crumble the seed slot wall instead of just hammering it down like the stock wheel. This is our V8 firming wheel, which is a urethane firming wheel that matches the shape of the seed slot much better than the OEM one. This is our spoke narrow gauge wheel assembly, which also includes a urethane tire, and it has the Pier Seed Extreme bearing as well as the firming wheel, and we also sell that bearing a la carte for the closing arm. Now behind the gauge wheel we have our extended wear forged and no disc blade, which we've had very good luck with. And on the other side of the disc blade is our extended wear Needham Ag seed boot that has our bushing kit. So with our bushing kit, it takes the play out of the bolt, the boot, and the arm for much longer life. And it has our seed tab, our vanilla seed tab, which we've been selling for many years, and we've had very good luck out of it. If we come back up here at the top, we sell heavier duty springs so they don't slip out of the pegs like the OEM ones. So this is our seed brake, which helps to vent the air out of the line on air seeders. This is our PVC and urethane blend hose, which we've seen to have about 30 to 40% longer life than the standard just PVC hose offered by John Deere. And lastly, this is our spring spacer. We recommend these in the wheel tracks of air seeders and in the wheel tracks of the cart and tractor that are there with the air seeder, and it gives you more down pressure in the wheel tracks, because oftentimes there's more compaction in the wheel tracks and the opener doesn't get to the target seeding depth because of that compaction. So this gives you additional down pressure in the wheel tracks.
So at Needham Ag, we're proud to be sponsors of the National No-Till Conference again. I think this is our 7th or 8th year, I believe. You know, we're huge proponents of no-till. No-till doesn't work everywhere, but no-till works in most areas, but it takes management and it takes equipment modifications. For example, you know, a lot of guys haven't been successful buying a brand new piece of planting, drilling, or seeding equipment and been totally successful in no-till. Most manufacturers make a piece of equipment that's going to work to an acceptable standard worldwide, but when you put some of those pieces of equipment in no-till fields, there are often some limitations. Many times it's in closing. So closing, seed firming, holding seeds down with tabs, these are all vital components when you move factory seeding equipment over to no-till fields. So we're proud to be a sponsor of this event and to promote some of our products to help with no-till. No-till farming is really important to us. We're headquartered out of Calhoun, Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and I think it was the 1st of November 2018, we had 6.8 inches of rain fall in one day, and 3 days later there was another 2 inches. So we had 8.8 inches of rain fall over a 3-4 day period. That was on the 1st of November. Anybody around us on rolling ground that worked the ground for wheat, for example, and the wheat was just barely up, if up at all, at that time, had huge amounts of soil erosion. I've never seen so much soil erosion as what we got out of that 6.8 inch rain event that fell over a period of, most of it was over probably 2 or 3 hours. It wasn't just dirty water running off fields, it was almost sludge running off fields. So, you know, it's in all of our interest to preserve the environment and the topsoil, and it just makes me cringe to see that much topsoil lost off of a field compared to fields around that were no-tilled, that had a cover crop established, that was actively growing at that time. You know, there was clean water running off them fields. So it's in everybody's interest to promote no-till and cover crops. They work hand in hand together, and we've got a lot of products that help with no-tilling and making seeding equipment work much better.